Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English Insights, the channel where you learn history and practice English with slow and clear listening. Today, we will talk about Baldwin IV, the King of Jerusalem. He lived in a very dangerous time during the Crusades. The Crusades were wars between Christians and Muslims. They started in the late 11th century when European armies went to the Holy Land to take Jerusalem. It was a time of violence, fights for power, and strong religious feelings. In the middle of this, a boy named Baldwin was born in a royal family. When he was a child, he got leprosy, a disease many people were afraid of. But Baldwin did not hide. He grew up to be brave and smart. He became king when he was only 13 years old. Even with his illness, Baldwin led his army with courage and good plans. He even met one of the most famous Muslim leaders, Saladin. In this episode, we will follow Baldwin's short but brave life. How did a sick young king keep his kingdom safe? How did he win battles even when his body got weaker? Let's start and learn the story of the king called the Leper King. Part 2. Childhood and Diagnosis. Baldwin IV was born in 1161 in Jerusalem during a difficult time. His father was King Amalric I, a strong king of the Kingdom of Jerusalem. His mother was Agnes of Courtenay, a noble woman from the West. From a young age, Baldwin was a smart and strong boy. He was taught by the best teachers of that time, especially William of Tyre, a famous bishop and historian. William was the first person to notice something unusual about Baldwin. When Baldwin played with other children, he did not feel pain when he was scratched or hurt. At first, this was strange but not serious, but William, with his experience, thought it was not normal. He watched Baldwin carefully and finally found a scary truth. Baldwin had leprosy. In the Middle Ages, leprosy was one of the most feared diseases. People with leprosy were often avoided and seen as unclean. They could not live close to others. For a prince like Baldwin, this was very serious. It could affect his right to be king and the future of the kingdom. However, instead of hiding Baldwin or stopping his training, the royal family continued to raise and teach him as the true heir. This showed that the royal family had high hopes for him, and it was a sign that Baldwin's life would be very special. Baldwin was trained like a real prince. He studied history, religion, and politics. He also learned how to ride horses, use weapons, and lead soldiers. William saw that Baldwin was smart, strong, and brave, even though he had leprosy. Through hard work and strong will, Baldwin became a skilled leader. He did not let his disease stop him. Instead, he used his mind and his heart to prepare for the day he would become king. Part 3. Becoming King and Facing Doubts. In 1174, when King Amalric I died, his son Baldwin IV became king. Baldwin was only 13 years old. At that time, there were many wars with Muslim forces and fights inside the kingdom. Many people were worried because Baldwin was a young boy and he had leprosy. For the Western nobles living in Jerusalem, a young king was already a risk, but having a king with a serious disease made them more afraid. They worried that Baldwin might not live long and the kingdom could fall to enemies. However, Baldwin surprised many people with what he did next. Right after becoming king, Baldwin faced many problems inside and outside the kingdom. Inside, some groups in the court did not accept him as the true king, especially those who supported his mother, Agnes of Courtenay, who once had to divorce King Amalric for political reasons. Powerful families like Ibelin, Courtenay, and Lusignan fought for power around Baldwin's throne. Outside the kingdom, the biggest threat was Saladin. He was a strong leader of Muslim forces in Egypt and Syria. Saladin wanted to unite the Muslim world and take Jerusalem back from the Crusaders. In this situation, a kingdom ruled by a sick young king was an easy target. But Baldwin did not act like a weak boy. Instead, he was very smart and strong. With advice from William of Tyre and loyal nobles, he quickly learned to run the kingdom. He built good relations with other leaders and prepared for war. Even though his health was weak, Baldwin still rode horses, led the army, and appeared in public. This made people and soldiers respect him. He was also a good diplomat. He used marriages, alliances, and the fights inside enemy groups to keep Jerusalem safe. One of Baldwin's most important decisions was not to let any group control him. Even though he was young, he was independent and ready to remove anyone who threatened the kingdom's peace, even family members. Because of these actions, Baldwin IV became a respected king, even with his disease. Many people saw him not just as the leper king, but as a brave warrior and a strong leader in a difficult time. Part 4. Military Skill and Battles Against Saladin. The most famous battle Baldwin fought was the Battle of Mongasar in 1177. Saladin had a very large and strong army. He planned to attack Jerusalem and take it back. Saladin's army crossed the Sinai Desert, which was very difficult. After many days, they reached near Jerusalem. Saladin thought Baldwin was weak because of his disease. Baldwin's army was small. He only had about 500 knights and a few thousand soldiers. Many soldiers were not very experienced. Even though Baldwin had a fever, he decided to fight. He rode his horse and led his men. On November 25th, Baldwin surprised Saladin's army near a place called Mongasar. Baldwin used the enemy's tiredness to his advantage. His knights attacked quickly. Saladin's army was confused and divided into smaller groups. Saladin himself almost got captured, but escaped with a few guards. Most of Saladin's soldiers ran away or were killed. This was a huge victory for Baldwin and shocked many people in Europe. A young king with leprosy had defeated one of the strongest armies of that time. After Mongasar, Saladin did not give up. He continued to attack many Crusader castles such as Gaza, Ascalon, and in the region of Galilee. Baldwin's health became worse. He could no longer ride horses in battle, but he still led his army. He gave orders from camp and made smart decisions about when to attack and defend. Even though he was weak, Baldwin was still a strong leader. In 1179, Baldwin faced another battle at Marjayun. This time, Saladin's army was better prepared and won the fight. The Crusader army lost many soldiers. Baldwin learned from this defeat and planned carefully for the next battles. Also in 1179, Saladin attacked the castle of Jacob's Ford. This castle was very important because it protected the border of the Crusader kingdom. Baldwin wanted to protect the castle, but could not stop Saladin from destroying it. This was a big loss for Baldwin. In 1183, Baldwin fought a very important battle at Al-Ful. This time, Baldwin used surprise attacks and fast moves. He sent knights to attack Saladin's army from different sides. He chose good places to fight, where his smaller army could win. Baldwin's army stopped Saladin's attack and won the battle. This was an important success for Baldwin's kingdom. Also in 1183, Saladin surrounded the castle of Kerak. Baldwin was almost completely paralyzed by leprosy, but he still sent soldiers to help defend the castle. His army fought hard to save Kerak from Saladin. This showed Baldwin's determination and care for his kingdom. Besides fighting in battles, Baldwin worked hard to build castles. He knew that strong walls and good defenses were very important. He improved the castles along the eastern border to protect his kingdom from future attacks. Leprosy slowly made Baldwin weaker. It took feeling from his legs and changed his skin. But Baldwin never stopped fighting. He often wore heavy armor and showed a serious, strong face to his soldiers. His courage gave hope to the army. Baldwin IV's life was short because of his illness. But in less than 10 years, he became one of the most respected kings of the Crusades. He did not only fight against Saladin's army, but also against his own disease. Baldwin's story is one of courage, strength, and leadership. People still remember him as the king who fought for his country with all his heart. Part 5. Baldwin IV's Legacy and the Fall of Jerusalem. Baldwin IV's death had a big impact on the Kingdom of Jerusalem. He died young, around 24 years old, because of leprosy. His disease got worse over time, and he could not rule or fight anymore. Before he died, Baldwin tried to protect his kingdom by choosing good leaders to help him. But after his death, the kingdom became weak because there was no strong king like Baldwin. Baldwin's young nephew, Baldwin V, became king, but he was only a child and very sick too. He ruled for a short time and died soon after. Then there was a lot of fighting for the throne. Different noble families wanted to control the kingdom. This made the kingdom weaker and less able to fight enemies like Saladin. Without Baldwin's strong leadership, Saladin took advantage of the situation. In 1187, Saladin led a big army and defeated the Crusaders at the Battle of Hattin. This was very important for the Christians. After this battle, Saladin took back Jerusalem. The loss of Jerusalem shocked Europe and started a new crusade called the Third Crusade. Even though Baldwin IV died young and the kingdom fell after him, his legacy stayed strong. He showed great courage and wisdom while fighting despite his illness. Baldwin was a symbol of strength for many people. His story inspired knights and leaders in Europe for years. Baldwin also taught an important lesson about leadership. He showed that a king must be brave, smart, and care for his people. He worked hard to protect his kingdom, not just with swords, but with careful planning. Baldwin understood that good defense and strong alliances were very important for survival. Today, Baldwin IV is remembered as one of the bravest kings of the Crusades. He fought many battles and led his people with great heart. His story is a reminder that true strength comes from courage, not just physical health. In the end, Baldwin IV's life was short but full of meaning. His fight against Saladin, his struggle with disease, and his leadership during difficult times left a lasting mark on history. Even though Jerusalem was lost after his death, Baldwin's name is still respected by many people around the world.